Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The Spanish military disaster at Aniel in the summer of 1921 is frequently remembered as a stunning battlefield victory, a moment of cataclysmic defeat for European colonial power. This perspective, while accurate, obscures a more profound reality. The collapse of General Sylvester's army was the spectacular outcome of a meticulously designed political experiment. It was the first large-scale, successful field test of a new and coherent doctrine of anti-colonial statecraft, engineered by Muhammad ibn Abd-el-Krim al-Khattabi. His work presented a formidable intellectual challenge to the foundational assumptions of European colonial expansion. The events of that summer were the dramatic proof of concept for a system designed to solve a very specific, and until then, intractable problem. The problem itself was a classic of colonial theory, one the Spanish had exploited for decades in northern Morocco. How could a technologically advanced, centrally organized European state be resisted by society that was politically fragmented and materially disadvantaged? The Rif, a mountainous region of profound cultural integrity, was composed of numerous, fiercely independent Berber tribes. Spanish colonial policy, a well-honed application of divide and impera divide and rule operated by exacerbating intertribal feuds, purchasing the loyalty of key leaders, establishing a network of fortified outposts or blockades to project power and enforce compliance. This strategy created a political landscape where any large-scale, unified resistance was perpetually undermined from within. A rebellion by one tribe would be met by Spanish armed rivals, turning potential anti-colonial wars into localized civil conflicts. The core challenge for any Rifian leader was therefore primarily political and structural, preceding any military consideration. The essential question was how to forge a unified political entity capable of collective action from a mosaic of competing autonomies, thereby neutralizing the primary weapon of the colonial power. Abd-el-Krim's solution was a formal establishment of the Republic of the Rif. This creation was a radical departure from the temporary, personality-driven tribal coalitions of the past. It was a calculated act of political engineering, a hybrid structure that used the familiar language of Islamic tradition and tribal authority with the functional apparatus of a modern nation-state. Its purpose was to provide a durable, institutional answer to the Spanish strategy of fragmentation. The first and most critical component of this new political technology was the centralization of command. He established a unified national army, the Harker, which superseded the individual fighting forces of the clans. This army answered to a single governmental body, a council of ministers with Abd-el-Krim serving as its president, or Amir. This act alone was a revolutionary achievement. His initial success lay in forging a permanent, binding alliance between his own powerful Ariacal tribe and the neighboring 8-2 This was a feat that had eluded his predecessors for generations, and it created a stable nucleus of power around which other groups could coalesce. This centralized structure presented the Spanish with an opponent they were unequipped to handle a single, unified political will capable of coordinating action across the entire region. The old game of playing one tribe against another had been rendered obsolete. Parallel to this military unification, he constructed the bureaucratic scaffolding of a legitimate state. This administrative framework was designed to create a viable, functioning alternative to the Spanish colonial system, winning the loyalty of the populace through effective governance. Drawing upon his formal education as a Qadi or an Islamic judge, he established a coherent judiciary. This system applied a uniform legal code across the confederated tribes, resolving disputes and dispensing justice in a way that was perceived as both legitimate and efficient. This offered a powerful contrast to the often arbitrary and self-serving Spanish administration. Furthermore, he created a state treasury. The immense wealth captured from the Spanish after the rout at annual rifles, artillery, ammunition, and currency was channeled into the central fund. This treasury allowed the Republic to pay its officials, procure supplies on international markets, and manage the logistics of a sustained war effort. It also instituted a system of taxation, a fundamental attribute of state sovereignty, which further cemented the government's authority and provided a recurring source of revenue. This was a machinery of a modern state in embryonic form, giving the Rifian resistance and endurance and organizational capacity far beyond that of a simple tribal uprising. The blueprint for this unique political structure derived from Abd-el-Krim's own composite intellectual formation. His thinking was a synthesis of two seemingly disparate worlds. From the ancient and prestigious University of the Al-Qarawiyyin in Fez, he acquired a deep grounding in Maliki jurisprudence, the legal and ethical framework that gave his nascent state its moral authority and internal coherence. This education provided the language and the principles for his judicial reforms, rooting his modernizing project in a tradition his people understood and respected. His second education came from within the belly of the beast. For years, he worked for the Spanish colonial administration in Melilla, serving as a secretary translator in the Office of Indigenous Affairs and later as a Qadi for the Spanish Untold district. This experience gave him an intimate, granular understanding of the mechanics of European bureaucracy. He observed its protocols, its communication systems, its internal rivalries, and, most importantly, its vulnerabilities. He saw firsthand how a centralized system operated, and he absorbed the principles of modern administration, which he would later repurpose for his own revolutionary ends. This direct, empirical knowledge of his adversary's system, combined with his deep cultural and legal training, equipped him with a unique intellectual toolkit needed to design a counterstate. The immediate success of this political model had a powerful, cascading effect across the Rif. The demonstration of a functioning, unified, and victorious state proved to be the most potent recruitment tool. Tribes that had remained neutral or even collaborated with the Spanish, like the formidable Gizanier and the 8 Amart, saw the tangible benefits of joining Abd-el-Krim's confederation. His system offered them something far more compelling than Spanish patronage of state and a sovereign, successful Rifian entity. The Republic's ability to deliver security, justice, and victory was a powerful argument. This process of accretion, where success bred further allegiance, systematically dismantled the Spanish network of alliances. Each tribe that joined the Republic was one less potential ally for Spain and one more component in Abd-el-Krim's growing state machine. He had in essence, reversed the colonial equation. Instead of the Spanish dividing the Rif, his republic was now systematically isolating and consuming the Spanish prisons. The triumph at Annual, therefore, was fundamentally a political achievement. It was a consequence of Abd-el-Krim having first solved the primary strategic problem of the creation of a cohesive political instrument capable of waging a unified war. This Republic of the Rif, with its centralized command, its nascent bureaucracy, and its foundation in both Islamic law and modern administrative practice, was the essential platform upon which all subsequent military success would be built. It was a laboratory for a new form of anti-colonial resistance, one grounded in the construction of a superior and more legitimate form of governance. Having forged the state, he could then perfect the unique military doctrine required to defend it. The next phase of his work would involve a granular analysis of the battlefield itself, transforming the mountainous terrain of the Rif into a crucible for a new, replicable science of asymmetric warfare designed to neutralize the material advantages of a modern army. The creation of the Rif Republic, therefore, was fundamentally a political achievement. It was a consequence of Abd-el-Krim having first solved the primary strategic problem of the creation of a cohesive political instrument capable of waging a unified war. This Republic of the Rif, with its centralized command, its nascent bureaucracy, and its foundation in both Islamic law and modern administrative practice, was the essential platform upon which all subsequent military success would be built. It was a laboratory for a new form of anti-colonial resistance, one grounded in the construction of a superior and more legitimate form of governance. Having forged the state, he could then perfect the unique military doctrine required to defend it. The next phase of his work would involve a granular analysis of the battlefield itself, transforming the mountainous terrain of the Rif into a crucible for a new, replicable science of asymmetric warfare designed to neutralize the material advantages of a modern army. The Spanish army, flush with the hubris of recent victories in Cuba and the Philippines, possessed a significant advantage in firepower. Their forces boasted modern artillery, early aircraft, and a substantial numerical superiority. Abd-el-Krim's response was a masterful adaptation of existing guerrilla tactics into a comprehensive and highly effective military doctrine. This was a deliberate, strategic approach, meticulously planned and relentlessly executed, rather than a series of haphazard skirmishes. It addressed the core problem of how a numerically inferior force, lacking heavy weaponry and industrial capacity, could effectively resist a technologically superior enemy. Its solution centered on a multi-pronged strategy prioritizing logistical attrition and psychological warfare over direct, large-scale engagements. This involved a sophisticated understanding of the terrain, the effective use of camouflage and concealment, and a relentless focus on disrupting the enemy's supply lines. He developed what might be termed the empty battlefield doctrine. Rifian fighters, intimately familiar with the rugged landscape, would strike swiftly and decisively, inflicting casualties on the Spanish before disappearing back into the mountains, denying the enemy a fixed target for their superior firepower. The Spanish army, accustomed to conventional warfare, found itself frustrated by its inability to locate and effectively engage its elusive adversary. A critical element of Abd-el-Krim's strategy was the systematic targeting of Spanish supply lines and isolated garrisons, known as blockhouse asterisk. These fortified positions, scattered throughout the Rif Mountains, were intended to project Spanish power and control, but Abd-el-Krim turned them into liabilities. His forces would allow convoys to penetrate deep into the interior, only to ambush them at strategically chosen points, effectively besieging the entire Spanish front from within. This constant pressure on logistics had a debilitating effect, undermining the Spanish army's ability to sustain its operations. The Battle of Annual in 1921, a stunning Spanish defeat, served as a critical turning point. The massive quantities of weapons and equipment captured from the routed Spanish army provided Abd-el-Krim with material to further enhance his forces' capabilities. The captured Morser rifles and Schneider cannons, previously the symbols of Spanish military might, were now integral to the Rifian arsenal, turning the enemy's strength against them. This practical approach to re-equipping his army underscores the ingenuity of his strategic thinking. The siege and capture of Monte, a route, a key Spanish position following Annual, perfectly illustrate the effectiveness of Abd-el-Krim's tactics. The operation involved the skillful coordination of numerous small, highly mobile units, each comprising 20 to 50 men operating with remarkable autonomy and flexibility. These guerrillas operating independently yet in concert, harried the Spanish forces, systematically weakening their defenses before launching the final assault. This decentralized approach maximized the impact of the Rifian forces while minimizing their vulnerability to the Spanish artillery and air power. The systematic dismantling of the Sylvester Line, a network of blockhouse designed to secure Spanish control over the Rif, stands as another testament to Abd-el-Krim's strategic brilliance. The operation involved a combination of direct assaults, ambushes, and the relentless harassment of supply lines. The Spanish found themselves unable to maintain these isolated outposts in the face of constant pressure, gradually losing control of significant portions of the territory. The impact of Abd-el-Krim's military doctrine extended far beyond the Rif War. His methods resonated deeply with subsequent generations of revolutionary leaders. Mao Zedong, for example, explicitly studied and referenced the Rif War in his strategic writings on protracted People's War, drawing parallels between the Rifian experience and his own struggle in China. Similarly, Ho Chi Minh and General Vo Nguyen Gior, leaders of the Vietnamese independence movement, explicitly acknowledged the influence of Abd-el-Krim's tactics in their war against the French. Che Guevara's writings on guerrilla warfare also reflect a clear lineage from the Rifian model of a small, agile force igniting a popular uprising and leveraging the terrain to overcome a superior enemy. These examples highlight the enduring relevance and influence of Abd-el-Krim's unique contribution to military strategy. His work provided a blueprint for asymmetric warfare that continues to be studied and analyzed to this day. The Rif War, therefore, serves as a compelling case study in the power of strategic adaptation and the capacity of a determined people to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The next stage of Abd-el-Krim's endeavor involved a different kind of battlefield, the international stage. The echoes of gunfire in the Rif Mountains gradually faded, replaced by a different kind of struggle, of battle waged not with rifles and bombs, but but with diplomatic notes and impassioned pronouncements. Abd-el-Krim's genius lay not merely in his military prowess, but in his understanding that the survival of the Rif Republic hinged on gaining international recognition and legitimacy. He sought to transform a regional insurgency into a globally acknowledged state, a daring ambition that pitted him against the formidable might of European colonialism. His approach was multifaceted, a complex interplay of calculated military actions and a sustained diplomatic offensive. He grasped the power of self-determination, a concept championed by Woodrow Wilson, and skillfully employed this rhetoric to challenge the legitimacy of French and Spanish rule. He dispatched emissaries to Paris and London, carrying carefully worded appeals to international justice and the principles of national self-governance. These missions, far from being mere symbolic gestures, involved detailed presentations of the Rifian case, backed by meticulous documentation of atrocities committed by the colonial forces. The sheer audacity of his actions, his willingness to engage with a very power seeking to subdue him, was a masterstroke of strategic thinking. Simultaneously, Abd-el-Krim cultivated relationships with foreign journalists, providing them with access and information in a calculated attempt to shape international perceptions. Vincent Cheatham, a prominent American journalist, became a key conduit for disseminating the Rifian perspective to a wider audience. Cheatham's accounts, published in leading newspapers, provided a counter-narrative to the official colonial versions, exposing the brutality of the war and highlighting the Rifian people's resilience. This carefully orchestrated media campaign was integral to Abd-el-Krim's broader diplomatic strategy, aiming to build international support and pressure on the colonial powers. Further solidifying his claims to statehood, Abd-el-Krim initiated the creation of a Rifian currency, a tangible symbol of his government's authority. This bold move, undertaken despite the economic blockade imposed by the colonial powers, demonstrated the Republic's determination to establish its own independent financial system, a crucial element of any sovereign entity. Though the currency's circulation was ultimately limited by the war's circumstances, its very existence underscored Abd-el-Krim's commitment to building a viable and independent state. The meticulously crafted text of his formal communications to the League of Nations further exemplifies his commitment to legal and diplomatic channels. These documents, infused with a powerful blend of righteous indignation and legal argumentation, served as a testament to his belief in the power of international law to restrain colonial aggression. He appealed directly to the principles of self-determination, citing the injustices inflicted upon the Rifian people and demanding their right to govern themselves free from foreign interference. However, Abd-el-Krim's diplomatic efforts were not solely based on peaceful appeals. His strategy included a calculated element of military escalation. In April 1925, he launched a major offensive across the Uarda River, pushing deep into the French protectorate of Morocco. This was a high-stakes gamble, a calculated risk designed to force a diplomatic resolution. The objective was not territorial conquest, but to dramatically escalate the conflict, thereby compelling France to engage in serious negotiations. This bold move, however, proved to be a critical miscalculation. The French, far from being pressured into mediation, responded with overwhelming force, mobilizing a Franco-Spanish coalition under the command of Marshal Philippe Pétain. Pétain, a veteran of the First World War, brought to bear the full weight of modern military technology and strategic expertise, transforming the conflict into a war of attrition. The ensuing battle, a pivotal moment in the Rif War, highlighted the limitations of Abd-el-Krim's diplomatic strategy when confronted with the unwavering determination of the colonial power to maintain its grip on its territories. The amphibious landing at Alhucemas in September 1925 marked a turning point, demonstrating the devastating consequences of facing a technologically superior and utterly resolute enemy. The extensive use of chemical weapons, specifically mustard gas, against civilian populations, a fact meticulously documented in numerous historical accounts, stands as a stark reminder of the brutality of colonial warfare. The aerial bombardment of markets, rivers, and villages indiscriminately targeted non-combatants, illustrating the lengths to which colonial powers were prepared to go to suppress the Rifian rebellion. The Rif War's ultimate outcome, though a military defeat for Abd-el-Krim, provides a compelling case study in the challenges of anti-colonial state building. The story of Abd-el-Krim's diplomatic endeavors underscores the complexities of navigating the international system, particularly for nascent states facing powerful, entrenched colonial interests. His strategic vision, though ultimately thwarted by overwhelming force, remains a testament to his political acumen and unwavering commitment to the independence of his homeland. The legacy of his struggle, marked by both military brilliance and diplomatic innovation, continues to resonate in the ongoing fight for self-determination across the globe. His attempts to use the language of international law and the principles of self-determination, coupled with his calculated military actions, represent a complex and ultimately tragic, yet deeply insightful, case study in the dynamics of colonial resistance and the enduring power of the human spirit. The echoes of gunfire and a clang of steel had faded, replaced by the hushed rhythm of exile. Reunion Island, a remote speck in the Indian Ocean, became the unlikely stage for the next act in Abd-el-Krim's extraordinary life. Military defeat, a harsh reality following the Rif War, did little to diminish his stature. His confinement, or from silencing him, served as a crucible forging a new form of resistance, one less reliant on the clash of arms and more the power of ideas. The struggle for independence, once waged on the battlefields of the Rif, now transitioned to a different arena, one of intellectual and ideological combat. His confinement on Reunion was a period of forced introspection, a time for reflection on the strategies employed and the lessons learned. The experience, though undeniably harsh, provided a unique vantage point from which to observe the intricacies of global politics, the machinations of colonial powers, and the burgeoning tide of anti-colonial sentiment sweeping across the world. This period of enforced quietude, paradoxically, sharpened his political acumen and solidified his position as a pivotal figure in the North African independence movement. He emerged from this period of isolation not merely a seasoned military leader, but a potent symbol of resistance, his name resonating far beyond the confines of his prison. The year 1947 marked a turning point, a dramatic escape from Reunion, a daring feat in itself led him to Cairo, the vibrant heart of Arab nationalism. This city, teeming with intellectuals, activists, and political exiles from across the Arab world, became the perfect setting for Abd-el-Krim's next strategic endeavor, the establishment of the Maghreb Liberation Committee, Comité de Libération du Maghreb Arab *. His role as chairman was significant, not simply a ceremonial title, but a position of real influence and power. He steered the committee with the same strategic brilliance that had characterized his military campaigns, albeit in a very different context. The committee served as a vital platform for coordinating the activities of various nationalist movements across the Maghreb region. Abd-el-Krim's unique contribution lay in his ability to mediate conflicts between rival factions, often holding opposing ideologies and competing visions for the future. His immense prestige, earned through years of unwavering resistance, allowed him to bridge divides, fostering unity among groups that might otherwise have remained locked in conflict. His counsel was sought after by leaders of the Algerian National Liberation Front (FLN), figures such as Hossein Eid Ahmed, who viewed him as a guiding light, a source of inspiration and wisdom. The very act of seeking his advice was an acknowledgement of his unparalleled experience and strategic insight. His influence extended beyond direct consultation. He employed the power of communication to spread his ideology, utilizing the relatively new medium of radio broadcasts from Cairo to reach a vast audience across the Maghreb. These broadcasts were not simply informative, they were powerful calls to action, galvanizing support for the independence movements and articulating a vision of a unified, independent Maghreb. His written statements, widely circulated throughout the region, further amplified this message, inspiring a new generation of activists, fighters, and political leaders. These were powerful instruments, shaping public opinion and providing a unifying narrative for a diverse and fragmented movement. The tangible results of Abd-el-Krim's work in Cairo are evident in the very existence of the Maghreb Liberation Committee, a testament to his organizational abilities and his ability to unite disparate groups under a common banner. His refusal to return to Morocco after its independence in 1956, until all French troops had withdrawn from North African soil, was a powerful, symbolic act, highlighting his unwavering commitment to the complete liberation of the region, a commitment that transcended national borders. His actions served as a constant reminder of the unfinished business of decolonization, a powerful challenge to those who sought to compromise or hasten a return to normal relations with France. His connections with other key figures in the North African independence movements were significant. He maintained a correspondence with Al-Fassi of Morocco's Istiqlal Party and Habib, Barbier of Tunisia's Neo-Destour Party, lending his immense weight and prestige to their respective causes. These relationships were not merely symbolic. They fostered collaboration and facilitated the exchange of ideas and strategies, strengthening the overall movement for independence across the Maghreb. His influence served as a crucial catalyst, accelerating the momentum towards self-determination. Cairo, during this period, served as a nexus for anti-colonial and pan-Arab movements, a central hub for the coordination of activities and the dissemination of ideas. Abd-el-Krim's presence in this dynamic environment highlights the city's pivotal role in shaping the global landscape of anti-colonial resistance. His experience foreshadowed the activities of many Third World liberation groups during the Cold War, demonstrating the enduring importance of transnational networks and the power of shared ideologies in the fight against oppression. His influence extended far beyond the geographical boundaries of the Maghreb, shaping the course of anti-colonial struggle on a global scale. His legacy extends far beyond the immediate context of his own achievements, reflecting a complex and enduring pattern of anti-colonial resistance. The echoes of the Rif War, far from fading into the annals of forgotten conflicts, resonate powerfully within the contemporary world. Abd-el-Krim's strategic brilliance, his mastery of guerrilla warfare, and his profound understanding of the terrain, both physical and political, transformed a seemingly localized rebellion into a global case study. Military academies worldwide, including prestigious institutions like West Point and St. Cyr, now incorporate the Rif War into their curricular, not as a quaint historical footnote, but as a foundational text in modern insurgency. The strategies employed by Abd-el-Krim, his innovative tactics, and his ability to galvanize diverse populations against a technologically superior foe provide invaluable lessons for understanding asymmetric warfare. His success in challenging conventional military doctrine fundamentally altered the landscape of strategic thinking, prompting the development of sophisticated counterinsurgency strategies by global powers. The counterinsurgency doctrines meticulously crafted by the United States and NATO in response to conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq, for instance, represent, in essence, attempts to address the very military problems posed by Abd-el-Krim's campaign a century earlier. This enduring academic interest reflects the timeless relevance of his military achievements and their enduring influence on contemporary military theory. The legacy of Abd-el-Krim extends beyond the purely military realm, permeating the complex political landscape of Morocco and the broader Maghreb. His establishment of the Rif Republic, a brief but significant experiment in self-evidence, continues to hold symbolic weight, particularly within the Rif region itself. The Republic's existence presents a potent counter-narrative to the established historical accounts that prioritize the Moroccan monarchy's role in the nation's formation. For decades, official Moroccan historiography largely marginalized Abd-el-Krim's contributions, effectively silencing his voice and minimizing the significance of his achievement. This deliberate omission, however, only served to amplify the resonance of his legacy among those who felt excluded or marginalized by the official narrative. The flight of the Rif Republic, a powerful symbol of regional identity and historical grievance, has been resurrected by contemporary protest movements in the Rif, most notably the Hirak Rif, which unfolded between 2016 and 2017. These movements have reappropriated Abd-el-Krim's image and the symbols of his republic to articulate demands for greater regional autonomy, improved infrastructure, and economic justice. Their actions highlight the enduring power of Abd-el-Krim's legacy to inspire resistance against perceived injustices and to mobilize populations around a shared sense of identity and historical grievance. The persistent tension between the official narrative of Moroccan nationhood and the powerful counter-narrative embodied by Abd-el-Krim's legacy reveals a fundamental conflict concerning the very nature of Moroccan identity and the historical forces that have shaped its development. The ongoing relevance of his figure demonstrates the enduring power of collective memory and the capacity of historical symbols to galvanize political action. The assessment of Abd-el-Krim's legacy requires a nuanced understanding of his multifaceted persona. He defies simple categorization, eluding neat labels such as tribal chief or conventional statesman. His unique approach to warfare and governance involved a remarkable synthesis of traditional practices and modern strategies, a fusion that proved remarkably effective in challenging colonial power. He weaponized tradition, leveraging a profound knowledge of the Rif's geography and the social structures of its population to create a formidable and resilient resistance movement. His ability to adapt and innovate, to blend traditional forms of organization with modern military tactics, made his campaign a unique and highly effective model of anti-colonial struggle. The enduring questions posed by his legacy extend beyond the specific context of the Rif War. His actions continue to challenge military strategists to confront the complexities of asymmetric conflict, while also forcing post-colonial nations to grapple with the unresolved tensions between national unity and regional identities. The significance of Abd-el-Krim's work lies not in the ephemeral nature of the state he created, but in the enduring questions his actions continue to pose. His republic, while short-lived, served as a potent symbol of resistance, a testament to the power of collective action and the determination of a people to shape their own destiny. The enduring presence of Abd-el-Krim in contemporary discourse, both within Morocco and on the global stage, serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring power of ideas, the resilience of resistance, and the complex, often paradoxical, nature of historical legacies. His ghost, indeed, continues to haunt the mountains of the Rif and the corridors of power, a lasting testament to a practical genius whose innovative solutions have outlived the political structures he created. His enduring influence shapes the contours of conflict and identity, underscoring the complexity and enduring power of his legacy. His story serves as a potent reminder that the echoes of the past can reverberate powerfully into the future, shaping the present in profound and often unexpected ways.
We really appreciate you tuning in to this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.